Welcome to SpotLight. It's the podcast that lifts the curtain on life here at Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. I'm Scott, and today we find ourselves in Oz for the Wizard of Oz with some fabulous cast members. We've got Emily Bull and Aviva Tulley. Hello. Who, of course, play Glinda and Dorothy in the show, which we're going to get onto in a minute. But first, I want to take it like way back for your own personal memories of the Wizard of Oz. Like, presumably, your relationship with the show, or the story at least, started much earlier. So when was the first time, presumably it was the film, that you watched the film?
Yeah, mine was, my mum had it on DVD.
Yeah.
And I just used to go through loads of her DVDs, and I would put that on, and that would be like one of the best ones to watch. Yeah, fell in love with the music, fell in love with Summer of the Rainbow, of course. Yeah, that was mine.
For me, probably, I just remember it being on at Christmas quite a lot as a kid. You know, it was always on, and you know, getting used to those characters, and they sort of become so familiar in your life. You know, everyone knows those characters, like those Ozian characters. They're so, you know, specific.
So iconic.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And this is usually the point where I'd sort of say, so tell us about the characters that you play. But of course, everyone knows who Glinda is. Everybody knows who Dorothy is. But actually, having seen the show, this show, I would say, honours those characters, but also has a little bit of a sort of its own spin on it. So let's talk about your sort of characters. I think Dorothy, originally is described as small and meek. I think is the sort of original description of her. But
a little naive, I suppose.
Yeah. But I think your Dorothy's got a lot more to her.
Yeah, I think she's got. I think Dorothy alone has. Even when you watch the movie, she always has this strength from beginning and end to end. But I feel like Judy Garland played her, I think at the beginning, maybe a bit naive. But you could still see by watching it that she had this inner strength. And I feel like that was how I was trying to portray her, as I wanted the strength to be from the beginning to the end. And again, sort of, she doesn't know that, but when she gets to the end of it, then she does that. She knows she's been strong all this time, I suppose. I think that's my version of it. Yeah. But I do think I try and stay as true to the character as possible. And I think that, I think Dorothy is a unique, I feel like she is, she's true to herself the whole time. And I think, I try not to. I just think she is true to who she is. Yeah.
She's got a desire, hasn't she? She's got that like burning something inside of her that makes her not want to kind of veer off track.
Yeah, she's got a drive.
Yeah.
She knows what she wants. Even when she gets to Oz, she knows she wants to go home, and she doesn't. You know, she brings loads of friends along with her. But she knows, I know where I want to go. You can come along with me.
Yeah, she's happy to bring them along.
You can come if you want, but I know where I'm going.
Yeah. And of course, Glinda.
I mean, in the film, we see her as this pink-crowned, holding a wand, like the stereotypical kind of fairy on top of the Christmas tree kind of thing. And yes, I do have an extremely sparkly pink dress, which is
fabulous,
like a walking disco ball. Very heavy instantly. But when you first see Glinda, she's actually in a pink biker jacket on a pink Vespa with a pink helmet and ponytail.
She almost looks like Penelope Pitstop.
That's exactly and that was the that's kind of what the designer was sort of veering towards. And we get a lot. You know, I thought you were Barbie. Get that a lot from kids.
Yes.
So it's kind of, it really is that sort of amalgamation of like Barbie, but also the Nikolai Foster, our director, he loved the sort of sorry, I can't think today. No brain. Dolly Parton. That's who I'm after. That kind of country grounded, very grounded kind of feeling to her.
Yeah.
You know, and just a genuine, warm human being.
Yeah, it's almost like they're sort of amalgamation of everything that's been
Yeah.
before, and then your own fresh take on it too. Because if you look at like the
Exactly.
Glinda that's in Wicked,
Yeah.
she's sort of a bit like, you know, and there's a little bit of that in there, but then
Yeah.
also, you know, you've got this sort of Barbie-esque Penelope Pitstop, but then also nods to the film, and then of course I guess you both get to put your own
Yes, exactly.
spin on it
There's
as well.
a bit of Emily in
Yeah,
Glinda,
yeah,
and there's definitely
exactly.
some Aviva and
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and the
think-
way. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say the women in this show are portrayed as very, like, I've just by hearing, you know, what Nikolai was trying to do, I feel like the women are really strong
They are.
in this show. And you can see that, you know, the fact that she's come on with a motorbike.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yes.
you know, that's you know, not to be stereotypical, but not many women ride motorbikes, so that's
Yeah.
like, you know, it shows
it's kind of like,
it shows the strength, you know.
exactly. And of course, I get to play Aunt Em as well, which
Yes.
is like, you know, quite a different part.
Uh-huh.
That kind of really earth mothery, sort of working class, you know, a bit stressed,
Yeah.
you know, looking after a farm full of men, you know.
Yeah.
So I get a nice balance, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking of getting to put your own spin on this thing, like
Yeah.
your version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow
Oh.
is so beautiful.
Iconic.
You know, I got to see the show last
Iconic.
night, and it's almost such a shame that it comes so early in the show because it almost deserves its own sort of moment
Yeah.
much later too.
Yeah.
But of course, it starts the show off in like the most
Sets the
beautiful,
bar, doesn't
amazing
it?
way.
Yeah.
It sets the
Yeah.
bar. And of course, it is, you know, what you come to expect, but also you get to sort of, you know, you've Aviva'd it, I guess. So
have Aviva'd
yeah,
it, yes.
yeah. Tell us about your version of it, and you got to sing it on the big night of musicals
I did,
too.
Yeah. I have been singing that song like since I think I started to sing. I must have been about 3. Like everyone knows that song, so I've been training myself sort of kind of for it. And I do feel like even the way I sing it, I have put my own twist to it, and it is very much me. But I do think the reason why I kind of sing it the way I do is because I've listened to Judy Garland do her version over and over and over and over again. So I feel like I'm very inspired by doing it that way.
Yes.
But of course I don't sound like Judy Garland, so of course Aviva's touch is on it. But it's just such a beautiful song to sing, and I think because I've been singing it for so long, it's almost like a lullaby for me. Like it feels so nice to do it. Like I'm not as scared as maybe I did it the first time. It just feels like
So ingrained in you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's in your DNA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it's a real gift for me to be able to do that every night, because I've always sung it. So yeah,
It's a gift for us to hear it.
Yes, I bet.
Thanks.
I bet it was in the wings. sort
Oh
of
yeah.
like, yeah.
Backstage, just like, consistent every night.
So when you were 3 years old and listening to that song,
Yeah.
was playing Dorothy ever on the cards in your mind?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I just loved the character, but again, I didn't see myself playing that role because she looks nothing like me. So I just loved the character herself, but never thought that it would ever happen.
Yeah.
So now that it has, it's like wow. And I also watched every single episode of the Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes.
The TV show. I watched it, and I was like, I remember sitting down and seeing that it was a bit like weird as well when when you don't get to the next round, they ask you to take off your red shoes and
Brutal, yeah.
and then you go up on I don't know what it was, but you go off and it's just really sad. But I just remember watching it and loving it, and the fact that this is the production that was on that show.
Yeah.
I think that it's just nuts. It's crazy that that's happened.
Full circle.
It's really lucky, yeah.
And then, of course, like we just said, you performed that on that big night of musicals concert
Yeah.
in Manchester, was it? Was it Manchester?
Yes, it was Manchester.
Yeah, how was that? And how many people were there? Like, it must have been...
It was 12,000 people.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember, I had to contain myself because I was really, really nervous. And when you go, backstage, it's full of everyone almost in the musical theatre industry and big names and people who I've stalked on Instagram and loads of faces, but it was kind of really scary because it literally was just me on that stage, and I didn't have my cast members there to kind of support me, and it was kind of like, oh no, this is really scary.
Yeah.
Quite vulnerable. Exposing.
It was like, I don't know, I was really shy, but then as soon as I got on that stage, I just kind of went.
Did you think?
Yeah, it was kind of like you can't, like, you know, just do it, just, you know, like just get in the zone. And I got in the zone, and I just, it was kind of surreal, very surreal.
I bet. But then, of course, now you're back with all of your castmates and you're here doing this amazing production. And let's just talk about the production itself for a bit, because, of course, we touched on the sort of 1950s element of your costume and what you come on the Vespa. But, of course, that is sort of peppered throughout the show.
Yeah.
The show is still iconic. We still know where we are. But also there's really cool references to things like, you know, we go to Oz and it's sort of like a green New York. Right, but then there's like inspiration from, like, I noticed there was like Margaret Hamilton, the original witch, was on a Hamilton poster, and then
did you see Judy Garland as well?
I did see Judy Garland, but she whizzed away, so I didn't sort of clock what her poster was. But there's so much to see
there's a lot.
in the spectacular visual design. Yeah. What's your favourite like part of the look of the show? Is there like a piece of set or a costume that you love?
Oh, golly. I think the Yellow Brick Road is fantastic. I think that kind of nod towards sort of airline.
Yes.
You know, and they're in charge of moving everything around, and it's like you're getting on, you know, like a Ryanair flight or something.
That's my favourite bit. Actually, that's visually my favourite. And they're all in their yellow with the yellow. You know, it's. I think that's fantastic. I think that idea is wonderful, and very different from, you know, it's not a brick road. They're arrows that move around the stage that they're pushing, and they're gearing and getting you on your travels, you know. I think that's fantastic.
Which looked really scary when I first saw them. I was like, how am I going to do that?
You get on a moving piece
and
of
then it's the hills as well. It was like, I was so nervous.
Yeah, we were just talking to Ben about it in the last episode, where he's sort of like tumbling over them and climbing on the poles and spinning around.
He's
it looks like
fierce.
a very physical show.
Yeah, for sure. For him.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah, we don't have to do
much physical stuff.
We don't have to do.
And the ensemble, of course, who are sort of changing costumes left, right, and centre, and doing all that choreography. But then, of course, another really physical element of the show is sort of your little partner along the journey in Toto, puppeteered in the most beautiful sort of way. How is that to sort of share the stage with this puppet, Toto?
Abby is just her name's Abby. Abigail Matthews, and she is a dream to work with. She is so lovely, and just to have her by my side every step of the way, even like in Summer of the Rainbow when she's next to me and I can see her, like, I know I'm supposed to be focusing on the dog, and I do focus on the dog, but like Abby alone,
she's attached to it.
She is just oh my god, she is.
It's almost fantastic. Like her energy goes through the dog.
Yes.
You know, obviously it has to do that for the puppet to come to life, but because she is such a beautiful human being, it's kind of like, I don't know, there's something so special about that, isn't there? And just the fact that I think having a puppet and seeing how a puppeteer works is very different. I think for me, I feel like it's a job that I think is slightly underrated.
Yeah.
Because it looks like hard work.
Yes.
And I don't know how she does that 8 shows a week, but she does it, and she does it amazingly.
She does. On the surface, puppeteering just seems like you've got something and you're just sort of operating it, but it's so clever.
We've all tried. And it just
doesn't work.
It's very hard. You know, it's such a physical show, and she's never off stage. She's like you. She's with you the whole time, and she's bent over, and she's having to maneuver things. She can't. You know, I share a dressing room with her, and she's constantly coming in, like telling me like the near misses of kind of. The journeys, because obviously she has to keep her eye on the dog, so she has to use her peripheral vision the whole time. She's never able to actually look, so people need to make sure that they're not bumping into her, that you know, safety is paramount, but you know,
and she's in a like the dog's world, I suppose. So she does things, and her thoughts are slightly different to ours because she's playing a dog. Well, we're all humans, but she's thinking, oh, like how could I there's a, like, you know, she has different things that she's doing.
She's being a dog.
She's being a dog.
And
I remember one time I asked her to show me how the dog breathes. And she, like you can like she like really focuses on the breath, and it's just phenomenal.
Wow. And testament to her skill, because there was a moment, and I won't give it away, it's down there, where the dog just sort of almost stole the scene, really. She the way she sort of brings humour to the part as well, which you wouldn't get by using a real animal or any other thing. There's such humour that she brings to it too. So,
and the idea of having a puppet as well is obviously we could have a real dog, but the thing about a real dog is that they're unpredictable. And the fact that, a dog has to be trained, you'd always have to be holding a treat, and then it's kind of like there's no connection there. It's all about the treat, and it's all about making sure that she's got her hand in the right place so that the dog's in the right place.
It's not authentic.
It's not authentic, and then the dog could just not be bothered that day and go off and sniff, and then the audience is then focusing on that, and it becomes then, it distracts from the story.
Yeah. It's done so beautifully and artistically, like the rest of the show, which is great. Yeah. And of course, as you sort of tour around, there's slightly different casts that you're performing with, and in Wolverhampton, we're blessed to have the Vivian as our wicked Witch of the West. What is it like facing Viv in sort of a battle of good and evil throughout the show?
Absolutely love Viv. Dear friend. And I absolutely love working with him, because he, I don't know, he's just got this energy that it's palpable, and you want to kind of, there's that sort of back and forth. And really? we've really found our feet, our dynamic, our little bits throughout. I love it.
I'd have to say, he's really good with eye contact. On stage, which I think is really important, and I like connecting with him because he's I don't know, we just the connection is real, and it allows you to bounce off of one another because of that.
And he's so very consistent as well, which is it's lovely to have that.
And it's such a glamorous role, actually. It's probably crying out to have been played by a drag queen. It's such a great drag role. But what I'm going to guess is that Viv gets into the part and is solely the Miss Gulch and the Wicked Witch, and is the witch, right?
Yes, literally, And the makeup that she puts on, the detail, sat for hours in front of that mirror, every point that he can, just kind of honing in, doing all the contouring, adding detail, and it's just
it's flawless every time.
Looks stunning. Absolutely beautiful.
We're so excited to welcome you all and to see it in Wolverhampton, which for you is a bit of a return. It's been a long time, but you're going to be welcome back.
Nice
to the
be
Grand.
Reminded.
Yes, and for you, Aviva, it's going to be your first time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're really looking forward to having you both. We look forward to and we've got a little gift for you on the podcast. We don't have a mug or anything to give away, but what we do have, seeing as it's Pride Month, and seeing as we're over the rainbow. We have some rainbow tote bags with our Wolverhampton Grand Pride logo on. So I'm going to give you each one of these that you can sort of take around the country with you, and of course bring back to Wolves and make everybody jealous with these, because I love these. They're really cute. So we thought we'd give you these little
Thank you so
over the rainbow tote bags for when you come to Wolves from the 30th of July to the 4th of August. So
amazing. Thank you
so
much, Scott.
To having you with us. Thank you for chatting, and thank you everyone for listening and watching at home. We can't wait to see you in the next one. See you soon.